All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here on a Friday, and today I'm really excited to be bringing you the Omega Man on the Moon, the OMEGA Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. And it's a really cool watch. Now, this watch is not mine, not from my collection. This is actually from the collection of Chris Marshall of Marshall Time. I'm going to leave a link to his channel down below in the description. And also, I'm going to leave a link to his video that he did on this watch from his collection. I really want to encourage you to go over and watch Chris's video on the OMEGA Speedmaster. Number one, because it's a great video. Number two, because Chris, this isn't his first Speedmaster he's owned. I do believe it's 3 or 4 that he's owned throughout history. And at one point, Chris was actually fortunate enough to own a 1968 Speedmaster. He tells a little story about that. It's kind of sad what happened with that watch. But that was a really special watch because, of course, 1968 was pre the 1969 Apollo 11 moonwalk. So it was a really special, watch to have. And so I really, like I said, I want to encourage you to check in the description below and you'll see Chris Marshall's channel. I'll leave a link to that, and I'll also leave a link to his video on this watch. But very special watch. This was the watch that NASA, when they were testing watches and putting them through their paces to be used in space, this is the watch that they settled on, this OMEGA Speedmaster. Originally developed in 1957 and primarily used in like auto racing and whatnot. The watch gained even more popularity through its use in the space program. If you talk to any kind of a watch collector today about watches and about watches that are special, most people will talk about the OMEGA Speedmaster just because its provenance in history, just the place it holds there, the movements that the watches have run throughout the years, the success overall, I think also that Omega has had with this watch. Just about 13 days ago, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the moonwalk. And if you guys are on social media, you know that Omega has been pretty vocal about that. And rightfully so. I mean, a lot of people are kind of perturbed, I think, by it. But I really do think they deserved that, and they have the right to really be proud of it. So, Chris, thank you for loaning this watch into the channel. Now, guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about the watch. We're going to go through the specifications, talk a little bit about the movement in the watch, and then, of course, we'll do a lume shot. But towards the end of the video, I'll let you guys know after the lume shot, what I do want to do is I'm going to set up the box that these watches come in, and I'm going to show you the box and everything that comes in it, because it really is quite impressive what you get when you buy one of these Speedmaster Professional watches. But let's go ahead and get the watch a little bit closer here to the camera and talk a little bit more about it. So guys, as you can see, your typical standard Omega Speedmaster Professional, absolutely beautiful watch, very clean, just very clean functionality on this watch. There's nothing super technical on this watch. It's very useful, especially in the chronograph mode. You can see over here you have a 30-minute counter for your chronograph. Down below, this is keeping track of your hours, up to 12 hours. Your running seconds are over here at the 9 o'clock position. And because this is a chronograph, let me go ahead and get it closer here and we'll get it started. You've got your seconds for your chronograph function up there. Around the outside on our bezel, we have the tachymeter function, so you can measure mile an hour. It's a very simple and easy to use tachymeter function. So we'll go ahead and stop that. You can see the clean snapback on that movement. This particular watch is running the rhodium-plated 1861 movement. It's a 17 joule hand winding movement with 21,600 vibrations per hour. That's the frequency. And you are looking at a hand windable movement with 48 hours of power reserve. So very nice there. You have a 42 millimeter case from side to side. My measurements bring it in just under 50 millimeters, closer to 49 from lug tip to lug tip. Measured 14 millimeters from the top of this hesalite crystal to the bottom of the case. Pretty thick, but you do have a chronograph. They did slim out the case so much that this watch wears absolutely beautiful on the wrist. You have a 20 millimeter lug opening. This watch is available on a leather bracelet or on the, on a leather strap or on the stainless steel bracelet. I would always suggest picking the watch up on stainless steel. It is definitely going to cost you quite a bit more money, but it's definitely worth it. The bracelet is absolutely beautiful. You have brushing along the outside, this nice little polished rib in the center, or kind of towards the center, and these two polished hug this brush center link. So very nicely done. clean. The Speedmaster Professional there, 2-button, you know, the Omega typical style there. Stainless steel buckles. The bracelet is really well done. Screwed links on this bracelet, polished along the side. The cases on these watches are really, really beautiful. And it's funny because this twisted lug design here and the way the watch, the way they've cut it in there, it's funny. I was looking at my Seiko Sumo, and I do believe that Seiko, when they built the Sumo, probably took a little bit of an influence from this design here that Omega has. The polishing on the case is absolutely beautiful. You have, it's really neat the way they've done this, because you have brushing along this little bottom edge here. You have this big polished curvature, beautiful beveled edge here on the top. And then inside this dished area where the, you know, the watch, it feels like the watch and bezel are sitting, this is also brushed. So it's just a great contrast. The pushers are polished on the watch. You, of course, have the Omega signed crown on here. Nice, good, grippy crown on this watch because, like I said, we do have a hand winding, the 1861 movement on here. It's an aluminum bezel insert on there, and it is polished, so it looks really nice. Like I said, the crystal on this watch is the official, you know, what the Moonwatch had back in the day, the hesalite crystal. These are available in a different version. I do believe there's a version with the sapphire crystal running the 1863 movement in it. But this is kind of the original deal here. Throughout the years, they've run different movements in these watches. They started out with the 321 movement, which was the column wheel chronograph. They moved on to the 863. This is the newest version with the 1861, and this is actually a little sturdier in the movement because you have a cam driven chronograph instead of that old column wheel style, which can be a lot more fragile. And I mean, they weren't that fragile because they made it through the space program, obviously, but this does have the more modern movement in it. Flipping the watch over and taking a look at the case back, you're going to see what you want to see on one of these watches. You know, that this watch is flight qualified by NASA for all manned space missions, worn on the moon. The first watch worn on the moon. A little bit more here over on the side. Lets you know that this is the professional, I said Bulova. It's the Professional Omega Moonwatch. Very cool. Very cool watch. Now, as far as water resistance goes, this is 5 atmospheres for 50 meters of water resistance. I hear a lot of people kvetching about that. I don't really understand why. I mean, this was a space watch, so not a lot of water flying around in space, but there's a lot of people out there that wear these watches in the water. I can't remember who it is on Instagram, but there's a guy on Instagram that actually, it's like, I can't remember the name of his link. I need to find it, but he's swimming with his Speedy all the time. He's always in the water with his Speedmaster, kind of bucking that trend that you shouldn't go in the water with a 50-meter watch, but he's doing it all the time, and he's doing it with a professional Moonwatch, so pretty ballsy move there. So let me go ahead and get this watch on my 7-inch wrist. We'll take a look at it on my wrist. We'll do the lume shot, and then, like I said, guys, we're going to go out with a full look at the box that this watch comes in. All right, so Chris has a little bit bigger wrist than me, but the watch actually fits me really, really nice. 42 millimeters is always a sweet spot for me. And, you know, you wanted a bigger watch with really clear legibility, which this watch has. Those nice white stick hands on the watch, just very legible. And that was probably part of the reason that NASA decided to go with this watch. You can just see on the wrist, it has good wrist presence. It feels really, really nice on the wrist. Even with the thickness of it, you can see as it sits on my wrist, that the thinness they put into the case and the way the case is designed, it just fits on the wrist just perfect. Under 50 millimeters is what I actually measured, so you can see that it doesn't slop over my wrist. It fits really well. Feels really, really good on the wrist. So I'm going to dim the lights, guys. We'll go out with that lume shot, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the box and paperwork that comes with one of these watches when you buy it. So using Swiss Super Luminova, you know, and the price point of these Omega Speedmasters, I don't think you'll be too surprised by the lume. They've really done a good job on putting the lume and applying it on the watch. As you guys can see, it's nice and bright. Glows all night long. I actually lumed it up the other night. I haven't worn the watch out. It's not mine, so I'm not going to wear it around, but I lumed it up and kind of checked on it all night, and I was really impressed with how good the lume works on the watch, guys. So, all right, if you guys came for the watch, now's the time to buck out, because I'm going to go ahead and show you the box. That's probably going to take a few more minutes. But I want to thank you guys for sticking around for this much of the video. So let's go ahead and jump into the box. All right, so this is, I guess, part of the price point you pay for one of these watches is the box that it comes in. Now, this box is so big, guys, that honestly, to get it all in the picture, I've been messing with tripods, and I have to take part of my lighting system down and use one of those really tall tripods to get this watch on video. So suffer along with me as I show you the box. Now, as you guys can see, it is a big, giant box. It goes way back there. As a matter of fact, I'll tip my tripod back so that you can see that. Very, very impressive. I've actually never received, bought, or seen a watch that comes in a box this impressive. So, of course, on the top of the box, they have the Speedmaster logo, and this is pretty cool because you split the box like this and open it up, and inside of here, you have the actual watch box itself. In the back here, you have your operating instructions. Very impressive book that comes with the watch, going through pretty much anything you would ever need to do in any language out there, you know, for the watch and functionality and things you can use the watch for. And then in the back here, of course, are our warranty cards and paperwork. I'm not going to show you the numbers and whatnot on that stuff because it's not my watch. Now let me get it back in the back here. Okay, so go ahead and on the front of the watch here, you've got these two little straps, pretty nicely done. You go ahead and lift them up and pull your tab out and open her up, and inside of here you have even more good stuff. They give you this really cool Speedmaster logo or token here. It looks like the case back of the watch. Just really cool, you know, extra thing to have with the watch. The watch would obviously go inside of here. I've taken it out because of the video. Over here, this is really cool. I've never seen a watch come with a loop. It was pretty cool because I was actually playing with it last night and using it to look at the dial of the Speedmaster, and it was really impressive. I actually used it to look at the dial of many of my watches, and I'll be honest with you guys, some of the higher end watches really looked a lot different through the loop. Going back here and taking a look in the back, you've got the standard NATO strap that this watch comes with, which is a very nice feature. They also include like the space style Velcro strap, like if you were going to actually wear this around the spacesuit like the guys did back in the day. And then a very nice watch tool also comes with it, so you can do the watch, you know, change your straps out as you need. Down there in the bottom, Chris, of course, has his extra watch links from adjusting the watch. And but really impressive box. You know, guys, if you're looking at picking up an OMEGA Speedmaster, just make sure that you get the full kit, because as you guys can see, especially with the professional model, if you don't get the full kit, I would assume that the resale value, it would affect the resale value of the watch quite a bit. Even though I'm not into real big watch boxes, when you're getting into a watch like this, Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch, definitely make sure that you get all of the parts and pieces you should for that watch. So guys, this has been a great video. Thank you for sticking around if you guys have stuck around through the box and everything like that. But I did want to show you. Chris, I want to say thank you again to Chris Marshall at Marshall Time. Check out his videos over there at his channel. Link in the description below, guys. All right, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to stick around because tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the Orient Kamasu, one of their new divers. I know that when I did the Kano here on the channel, it was really popular, so definitely come back around and check out that review. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.